Absolutely. Let us begin episode 12 of Whispers of the Ancients, a journey into the empire that would become the final flowering of ancient Persia before the coming of Islam. Whispers of the Ancients, episode 12, the Sassanian Empire, fire and crown to the 651 CE, Iran. The flame rekindled. In the wake of Parthia's fall, a wind swept across the Iranian plateau, cool and searing all at once. It carried the memory of Achaemenid kings, the hunger of new ambition, and the promise of a world reborn in fire. From the heartland of Fars, where Cyrus once dreamed, rose the Sassanian dynasty, heirs in spirit to a forgotten golden age. They were the children of Zoroaster's flame, zealous, sophisticated, and unyielding. For centuries, they would stand as the eastern mirror to Rome and Byzantium, guardians of Persian culture and midwives to an age of art, science, and struggle. Let us step now into their halls of marble, their fire temples, their courts of silk and steel, to witness the last empire of ancient Iran. 1. Ardashir's rebellion. The story begins with a vassal lord, Ardashir, son of Popuk, born in the old Persian lands of Pars. Under Parthian suzerainty, Ardashir rose quietly, consolidating power, uniting nobles disillusioned by Arsacid weakness. Into 24 CE, at the Battle of Hormuzgan, he met Artabanus IV, the last Parthian king. Steel rang, horses screamed, and with Ardashir's victory, the Sassanian dynasty was born. He was crowned Shahanshah King of Kings, not in humble ceremony, but with deliberate grandeur, echoing Darius and Xerxes. In that moment, Parthian decentralization ended. In its place arose a state more unified, more centralized, more determined to restore Persian preeminence. 2. A new order. Ardashir and his successors built a system as robust as any in antiquity. The Sassanian state was hierarchical, layered with nobles, priests, and bureaucrats. Zoroastrianism, once a faith among many, was now the official religion. Its sacred fires tended by a powerful priesthood. Royal authority and spiritual authority intertwined. The king was God's chosen, guardian of truth, and order. Yet within this rigidity, the empire was a tapestry of peoples, Greeks, Arameans, Armenians, Arabs, and Indians woven together by trade, administration, and law. This was not a recreation of the Parthian Confederation. It was something more ambitious, a Persian Renaissance. 3. The eternal flame, Zoroastrianism, and the state. In every town and city, on windswept hilltops and beside riverbanks, the sacred attached eternal fire burned. More than ritual, Zoroastrianism was a moral force, a cosmic battle between light and darkness, truth and falsehood. And Druge, the magi, the priestly class, were not just religious guides but guardians of political ideology. Under the Sassanians, Zoroastrianism became a state apparatus, codified, organized, enforced. Its texts of Avesta were collected and preserved, its theology debated in royal courts, and yet the flame cast long shadows, though officially tolerant of Jews, Christians, and Manichaeans. The pressure to conform to the state religion grew intense. Those who did not bend were broken. Some Christian sects were persecuted, others survived in quiet dignity, their churches tucked away behind palace walls. But the Sassanian kings, especially the great Shapur I, knew when to wield fire and when to stay the hand. 4. Shapur, the philosopher-conqueror. He came to power as the empire-ripened Shapur, son of Ardashir. Tall, regal, sharp of mind, Shapur inherited more than land, he inherited vision. He expanded eastward into India, north into Armenia, and west into Roman lands. Into 60 CE, he achieved the unthinkable, defeated the Roman Emperor Valerian and took him prisoner. A Roman emperor bound in chains, kneeling before a Persian throne. It was a triumph not seen since Achaemenid days. And yet, Shapur was not merely a warrior. He was a builder of cities, patron of the arts, sponsor of science. He welcomed Greek philosophers, Indian astrologers, and Nestorian thinkers into his court. In Gundar Shapur, a city of learning, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy flourished, a university before the idea fully existed. It was a glimpse of what Persian power could be, an empire of intellect as much as sword. 5. Art, splendor, and rock reliefs across the empire's rugged terrain. The Sassanian kings left their mark, not just in conquest, but in stone. At HistoryRooster, beside the tombs of ancient kings, they carved their victories into cliff faces. You can still see them, horsemen charging, crowns gleaming, enemies kneeling, gods hovering above. Sassanian art was not shy. It celebrated power, divine favor, and cosmic order. It adorned silver plates, textiles, and palace walls. Winged crowns, sacred flames, flying horses, royal hunts. In these images, we glimpse not just royal propaganda, but a vision of what it meant to be Persian, elegant, exalted, ordained. Their art was not static. It flowed through architecture to vaulted halls, domed roofs, intricate stucco work, from Siphon's grand arch, the Tak Kasra, to rural fire temples. Beauty lived in the stone. If you're enjoying this story of the ancient world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which ancient civilization would you love to explore next? Let us know below. 6. Struggle with Rome and Byzantium. The Sassanian story is forever entwined with its rival to the west, Rome and later Byzantium. For centuries, the Tigris and Euphrates were not just rivers, they were front lines. Warfare was frequent, yet rarely decisive. Each side would gain, then lose cities like Nisibis, Amida, Dara. Sometimes treaties brought peace, sometimes royal marriages did, but always the frontier burned. In this crucible of conflict, Sassanian generals grew wise in warcraft. Cities were fortified, roads improved, armies professionalized, and yet the true victories came not on the battlefield but in endurance. The Sassanians stood unbroken against the mightiest empire in the west. They were the eastern pillar of the known world. 7. Khosrow I, the just king. When Khosrow I Anushirvan took the throne in 531 CE, the empire was weary, its edges frayed, its heart in need of reform. Khosrow brought clarity. He reorganized the tax system, curbed noble excess, and strengthened the army. He was philosopher and king, reading Plato and Persian epics alike. Under his rule, Gundashapa blossomed, Greek knowledge merged with Indian numbers, and physicians gathered from every corner of Asia. His title Anushirvan of the immortal soul was earned. In legend, he walked the streets in disguise, listening to the people, judging fairly, burning injustice at the roots. To later Muslim rulers, Khosrow became an ideal, the wise, moral, secular monarch. 8. The court of splendor, life at the royal center. The Sassanian court was a theater of divine order, a place where robes shimmered like moonlight and protocol moved like choreography. The king sat upon a jeweled throne, crowned with the Karimbosa sphere of regal fire. His face veiled in mystery, his speech rarely heard, for even words could lose their power when overused. Surrounding him were Zogan nobles of ancient lineage and Dabir scribes who kept the empire's heart beating. Ministers managed the treasury, scribes tracked tribute from distant lands, and ambassadors from Byzantium, India, and China waited in marbled halls to be received. Every object had symbolism. Lotus motifs, lions on carpets, the scent of frankincense and cedar drifting through corridors. This was Siphon, not just a city, but a world within walls, the beating heart of a civilization at its zenith. And when the court moved in caravans of gold-laced tents and armored elephants, the empire moved with it. 9. Women of the empire. The lives of Sassanian women were etched with more nuance than many might think. Noble women held estates, appeared in court ceremonies, and in rare but known instances ruled. Names like Queen Boran and Azarmadok echo through. Time daughters of kings, regents of realms, rulers in their own right during moments of dynastic chaos. In Zoroastrian theology, women were not inherently impure, but guardians of the hearth, the lineage, the balance of Osha. Marriage was both sacred and political, with intricate rites and dowries that sealed alliances. In rural villages, women worked the fields beside men, tended animals, baked bread in clay ovens, and whispered stories of Ahura Mazda and Angra Mainyu to children beneath starlit skies. They lived lives woven into the empire's fabric unrecorded, but never insignificant. 10. Trade and the Silk Roads. The Sassanian Empire sat like a jewel on the crossroad of worlds. Silks came from China, spices from India, glassware from Rome, amber from the Baltic. The royal road pulsed with merchants, and the Persian Gulf shimmered with sails. Sassanian merchants were not mere middlemen. They were innovators, organizers, diplomats. They established trading posts deep into Central Asia, and their coins stamped with fire altars and royal faces have been found as far as Japan. Silver coins called drachms became trusted currency, their weight and purity symbols of a reliable empire. Markets bustled in cities like Ray, Istaka, and Nishapa, and caravans rolled under the eyes of royal tacksmen and Zoroastrian fire temples alike. In the great port of Siraf, ivory, pearls, and ceramics passed hands between Arabs, Indians, and Persians. The Sassanians were connectors, bridging the east and west, brokering more than goods, they traded ideas. 11. The fall of empires and the wind of change. By the dawn of the 7th century, the flame began to flicker. A brutal war with Byzantium, spearheaded by the ambitious Khosrow to Parvis, saw early victories and ultimate exhaustion. Jerusalem was taken, the true cross seized, Byzantine lands overrun, but pride invited ruin. The Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, bold and desperate, struck back with thunderous vengeance. By 628 CE, Persia was drained, its treasury emptied, its soldiers disillusioned. Khosrow was overthrown and executed by his own son, and in the years that followed, a carousel of weak kings and palace coups shattered the dynasty's spine. It was then, as the land still bled from war, that a new force emerged from the Arabian deserts. 12. The Arab conquest. The armies of Islam came not as mere invaders, but as a tidal wave shaped by vision, discipline, and divine purpose. At Qadisiyah and Nahawand, the great Sassanian army elephants, noble cavalry. The legacy of centuries was shattered. Yezdegerd III, the last Sassanian king, fled eastward. A boy king surrounded by betrayal and dust. He would die in obscurity, not on a battlefield, but murdered near Merv, his blood ending the line of Darius and Ardoshir. The empire was gone. Its temples fell silent, its fire altars extinguished not by force alone, but by time, fatigue, and divine change. But Persia did not die. 13. Echoes in the Caliphate. Though conquered, the Persian soul did not vanish. It whispered through new dynasties, rising like smoke from sacred embers. The Abbasid Caliphate, which overthrew the Umayyads, moved its capital to Baghdad a stone's throw from Siphon. Its viziers were Persian, its scholars spoke Persian, its vision of statecraft heavily Sassanian. Zoroastrian families converted, but carried their stories, values, and pride into the veins of the Islamic world. From Ferdowsi's Shahnameh poetic resurrection of pre-Islamic glory to administrative models and coinage, the Sassanian legacy endured. In the dance of fire and crescent, a synthesis was born. 14. Legacy of light. What is empire? But memory carved in stone and soul. The Sassanians were the last native rulers of Persia, before the tide of Islam reshaped the region forever. They stood as the heirs of Achaemenid grandeur and the ancestors of future Iranian identity. They forged an empire not only of arms but of law, faith and culture. Their fire altars may be cold, but their memory burns still in coins unearthed in desert sands, in domes that inspired centuries of mosque architecture, in poetry that sings of just kings and eternal flames, in every Persian story of justice, courage, and cosmic order. As Sassanian whisper echoes, if this journey through the Sassanian Empire stirred your imagination, please like this video, subscribe for more episodes of Whispers of the Ancients, and share in the comments, which forgotten empire do you want to explore next? Let the ancients speak again through you.